Hi everyone, this is Pastor Marco and welcome to this progressive and liberal Christian channel in which we explore different ways of living Christianity in the modern world and without putting aside our humanity and our love for the world. So here we go. Today I'd like to talk to you about Christmas. A few things that we cannot forget as Christian during Christmas time. And we tend to forget that Christmas is much more than buying gifts and putting the turkey in the oven. So here we go. At Christmas time, as Christian, we cannot forget those who don't have a shelter. Our Christmas story goes, a pregnant woman and her husband were looking for an inn, but there was no room in any place in Bethlehem. Basically, she had to give birth in a stable. And if you've ever been in a stable, it's not very clean and it's certainly not made for a young family. And we tend to forget at Christmas those who need shelters, those who don't have a roof over their head. Christmas, as Christians, we need to remember the people that don't have a place to live. And not only remember them at Christmas, but remember them all year long. Here's another thing we cannot forget, we cannot gloss over. We cannot forget about the immigrants and the refugees at Christmas. Our story tells us that after the Magi left the young family, they had to fled. Mary and Joseph had to fled to Egypt to escape persecution, political persecution. And if it sounds familiar, it still happens today. And they immigrated or went to Egypt as refugees, and political refugees at that. Christmas should cause us, Christians, to recommit, to embrace immigrants and to embrace refugees. At Christmas, we cannot miss the message about resisting abuse of power. Mary and Joseph and their family had to flee their homeland because King Herod strong-headedly used his power to squash out what he saw as a threat to his power. And the Magi also did resist political abuse of power by King Herod in defying directions to hand Jesus to him to be killed. Jesus grew up understanding what it means to be persecuted. He was a refugee living in Egypt. The focus on abuse of power in Jesus' teaching and his commitment and willingness to confront it is no accident. Jesus knew what it meant to be a refugee and to be persecuted. And he devoted his entire life to them, to the persecuted, to the people that are forgotten, the people that are crushed under political powers. So Christmas should cause us, Christians, to recommit to confronting those who are in power and abuse of that power. Christmas is much more than a little baby in a manger. Christmas is about standing up for those who can't. Christmas is about reminding us of the mission we have to do and to be in this world as Christians. And it's much more than impressing people with our theology, but it's about taking care of those who nobody wants to take care of. And maybe one last thing, at Christmas, as Christians, it's not about buying stuff. It's not about having more. It's not about gaining more and impressing people with our money and our gifts. Let us remember that at Christmas, it is much more than turkey. It is much more than a baby It is about standing up for those who can't. It is about standing up to the powers that are oppressive. It is to remember the people that are in the margins of society, the immigrants, the refugees, the homeless. So on that note, I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Until next time, Pastor Marco signing out.